Hello, Commanders! Welcome to the command table. I am Mathramar, and we are going to be covering battles 371 through 375 in the journey. This takes place in the Whispering Ruins. We just finished Divine Sanctuary, so we'll get after that. But first, if you would please be so kind as to like, subscribe, and if you want notifications when I drop new videos, be sure to hit that notification bell. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those below. All right, let's do battle 371. Okay, so for this one, it wasn't terribly complicated. It does look a little daunting just because you've got those two level 12 groups of Eternal Champions up front, a Mind Corruptor, a Paladin, and 4 Cannoneers. So, I mean, if you were just randomly spinning and came up against that, that would be pretty intimidating. But we have the advantage of knowing where everything stands, so it's very easy just to focus fire on what needs to be taken out. These level 8 bomb bots are sufficient to take out the level 12 Eternal Champions. A note about that is with the caveat that they do not have Power Stones in Journey. So if you ran into level 12 Eternal Champions in PvP, you probably would not have the same luck, because they'd probably have some protection Power Stones. So we're going to use those two level 8 bomb bots to take out those two level 12 Eternal Champions, and that solves that problem, which is probably the biggest problem out of all of it. The Mind Corruptor and the Paladin, the Mind Corruptor more so, are the next biggest threats. So we've got these two groups of assassins that are going to focus fire on them. Then we have Crows and Wraiths to finish off the Cannoneers, and obviously the assassins will join in on that. The Wraiths particularly are fantastic because they are immune to the force of the cannonballs, so the cannonballs just zip right past them, and they're able to just kill the Cannoneers at their leisure. The Crows fly in the air, so they also miss the cannonballs, and they stun the Cannoneers because the Cannoneers are no longer immune to stun. So it's going to go down pretty fast, so don't blink, but here we go. Okay, oh, and we had the Barrier Monk in there. I forgot to mention that. The Barrier Monk is to make sure that those bomb bots do not get mind controlled before that Mind Corruptor goes down. So that's the note about the Barrier Monk. Okay, 371. Let's move on to 372. This one was a beast. I'll admit this one took me several tries. So here we go. We have some Plague Throwers in the back, 3 groups of them. Then we have 4 Cannoneers, and then 2, 4, 6 groups of Plague Bearers. So the thing that stuck out to me when I first saw this, and it took me a while to dial this in once I noticed this, but everything here moves really slow. So with the exception of the Plague Throwers. So I figured, okay, let's plug in our assassins in the back to take out as many of those Plague Throwers as we can. That's the goal. We want to take out all of them. I've done the trick with the assassins on the top here to get them in a vertical line to where they don't veer off to the Cannoneers or the Plague Bearers, and they focus right on the Plague Throwers. That's where they pop. So these other assassins, they just start down here and start working their way up. But the goal is to remove all of the Plague Throwers, and then everything else is just super slow. So everything's going to start running through these entangling roots, and since they're slow, they go even slower. And this one Crystal Spire is going to do a lot of heavy lifting, clearing a lot of that out. Now the Cannoneers, they're going to get within range, and when they shoot at this Crystal Spire, their cannonballs are just going to deflect off of that wall. Then, when the Plague Bearers start working their way around, they will hit that freezing trap, and that's going to give the Crystal Spire a lot more time to keep working on them. The whole objective of this one is just to buy time. So you'll notice in the back, this is the key. I've got these 2 Arcane Archers, and they're going to stay way back. They're not going to get Plague, and they're going to be able to, once Frenzy hits, just clean out everything. So the only threat to them are these Plague Throwers, because the Cannoneers are going to take a day and a half to get through the entangling roots. I've got the Risen Warriors here just to buy more time. They're going to pop up on the other side, hopefully take out any Plague Throwers that didn't get taken out by the Assassins. And that's the theory behind this one. And I think I saw on Discord a lot of people were having trouble with this. So just buy time. Then when Frenzy hits, your arcane archers are going to earn their paychecks. So here we go. All right, assassins start working on those plague throwers. They get the top and the bottom. Now they clear out the cannoneers and start working on the middle group of plague throwers with the risen warriors to back them up. You'll notice the plague bearers up front are moving in on my crystal spire. So that group is about to trigger the freezing trap. So that gives my crystal spire some more time to take some stuff down. Also, the crystal spire is immune to plague. So it's able to keep going the whole time, and it pulls everything into those entangling roots. Notice the cannoneer that's left, all of its cannonballs bouncing off the wall, and Frenzy arrives. Now you'll notice they're just picking them off one right after the other. Pew, pew, pew. And good game. So that was the way I figured out how to do that. I'm not sure if anybody else did something similar, but that's what I had. All right, battle 373. Okay, for this one, we have a lot of Fire Knights. There's 4 groups. We have a giant toad, we have 2 ancient trees, and 3 earth elementals. So I figured, that's a lot of melee. This one's kind of technically ranged, but it's just the one unit. We're not terribly concerned about that. We picked the earth elemental because it's immune to fire, and it cannot be swallowed by the toad, at least not in its first form. Once it breaks, the toad would be able to swallow those, but we're going to prevent that by this Valkyrie keeping that earth elemental topped off. Everything else is far enough back to where the closest unit to the Valkyrie is the earth elemental. Then I've got my support units back here with the my damage units back here with the archers and the plague throwers. The plague throwers are there just to tag the toad and the fire knights, and that kind of takes the steam out of them. They just cannot push as hard, especially since half of the fire knights benefit is already mitigated by the burn immunity on the earth elemental. So they're going to be able to shoot in there, stun things, and spread the plague. The earth elementals are immune, but I'm not terribly concerned about that. The crystal spires and the archers are going to work on that. The archers are pretty good because they will hang way back here, and they won't aggro the splits from the earth elementals. They won't run after them because they're too far away. They'll just come back to this earth elemental. That, and they shoot the closest thing to them, so anything that does pop and go after the Valkyrie and the crystal spires, the archers will just burn that down really quick. So that's the theory behind this one. We've got the fortification right there just to hold off any splits for the archers to be able to do their job. Let's go ahead and let it run. Oh, and the ancient trees, I wasn't concerned about them at all. I figured we'll just make the whole army come to me. See that little fire knight? That got taken out by my archers. So anything that comes near, that's the thing that gets hit first by the archers. You see the giant toad and all the fire knights are all plagued, so they're going a lot slower. And then it's just a matter of working through the earth elementals. The arcane archer, I forgot was there. I guess I had an extra army point. You could probably just use another set of archers. Oh, okay, another little split from the earth elementals. They run into the wall, and the archers are able to clean them up. And now I've got a ton of ranged units to get those ancient trees, and the tree cannot clasp the earth elemental. So pretty solid. Let's move on to 374. Okay, this one admittedly did give me a little bit of trouble. I've also been super busy, so it's I haven't been able to focus on this as much as you've noticed. I haven't put out as many videos. Okay, so for this one, this is just a nightmare right here. You've got 8 groups of righteous defenders that are all level 12, which is just a nightmare and a half. Then you've got 2 paladins with Valkyries linked to them, and 2 brutes with 2 blessed bomb bots. So even if you do get everything down, you run a bunch of bombs into it and you blow it all up, those bomb bots can bring it all back. If you put 4 points worth of assassins in the back to take out those blessed bomb bots, yeah, you get them, but then they run forward into this mess of righteous defenders and they get taken down. So you've just used 4 points to try and get 2. there was a couple times that I ran that strategy that they were able to get the Blessed Bombats and the Valkyries, but more often than not, it just seemed like the Righteous Defenders took them down before they got much accomplished. And even then, you've got so few army points left that what do you do from this end to make things work? So my thought process for this, I took 3 Draining Spirits, I leveled them up as far as they would go. So maybe there's 4 of them there, I think. Is there 4? I don't know. It's hard to tell. We'll have to see. But I think I've got 3 or 4 Draining Spirits right there. And they're tagged on to the Plague Bearers. Now, the Plague Bearers, I'm not concerned about them getting Plague on anything. All I need for them to do is to hold their position long enough for all of this ugly nightmare to come running into those entangling roots. So once they get there, those Draining Spirits are going to be ticking. And these Risen Warriors are going to pop up in the back, and it's going to catch the attention of this whole mass, which is going to pull them back this way, and then they're all going to have to run through those entangling roots. Once they get through that, they're going to hit this freezing trap, which is going to increase the damage that the Draining Spirits do and hold that whole mess in place. Then, if anything gets past that, they hit this other set of entangling roots, and the Crystal Spires at that point should be able to start working on them there. Then, as they push through, they'll hit that freezing trap, and the Crystal Spires will be able to do extra damage, including the Draining Spirits doing extra damage that'll be tagged on the entire time. The Arcane Archer, I might have actually switched that out for a 3rd Crystal Spire if I had it, but I've only got the 2 at the moment. So I put in the Arcane Archer there just to add some extra damage. You could put another set of Entangling Roots in here somewhere, and that might help as well, or another Freezing Trap. So those are my thoughts for that one. Let's go ahead and let it play. Okay, so here comes the Nightmare rushing into my Plague Bearers. And that Paladin is going down very quickly. Okay, so now everything starts to turn around. Fortunately, these Righteous Defenders missed that trap entirely, because otherwise I would have missed all these dudes. Now these guys I wasn't counting on. They run by and they trigger that freezing trap. So now everything's caught in a freezing trap, but I was hoping to catch all of it here and then all of it there instead of in 2 separate groups. Here we've got Frenzy going, and there went the Arcane Archer. If I had another Crystal Spire, that would have cleared out a lot faster, and those brutes would have gone down even easier. I lucked out here because that Valkyrie might have been further down. Fortunately, it was still linked to the Paladin, so as the Paladin ran, it budged up, and that put it in range of those Crystal Spires. That's why I was kind of hoping that Arcane Archer would have lived. Just a thought, let's pull that back up again. If instead of having the Arcane Archer in front, you might consider putting the Arcane Archer behind the towers, pinning it to that back wall, and that would make it to where that Valkyrie, this Valkyrie I think, would always be in range, because the Arcane Archer would be able to hit it from there. So that's just another thought for that one. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to 375. Okay, now I do have the note about the Thorn Guards. So for this one, again, you've got your level 12 Eternal Champions. Those are pretty ugly. I'm not thrilled about that, so let's just delete those with our Bombots. I've got the second Bombots behind to take care of the Monster Hunter and the Paladin on the top and the bottom. So that's 9 points on the top, 9 points on the bottom, taken care of by 2 points on the top and 2 points on the bottom. So that's a pretty wicked trade. I'll take that. We'll just delete them. You can try stuff with Mind Shrooms if you want, but I just figure, well, let's just delete it, get rid of it. The other thing we've got here are these assassins in the back. So my first thought, which was this, is probably not as good as the second thought, which would have been Thorn Guards. These are level 12, so they may burn through some lower level Thorn Guards pretty quickly. So this is where this particular strategy may be better. But if you have your Thorn Guards up high enough to where they can withstand the assault of all 3 groups of these assassins, especially if you've got the protection power stones and things of that sort, you might be better, because then those Thorn Guards will move forward and tank the Lesher for you and draw crows. So that's where the freeze trap and the entangling roots might be better suited, is if your Thorn Guards aren't strong enough to handle the assassins. Otherwise, this is the way to go. As you'll see, all 3 assassins are going to converge on that crystal spire, and they'll all trigger that trap and get frozen. So then I've got 3 sets of archers to shoot at Lesher and to soak the damage from the crows, because there's a lot of bodies right there. The crows, when they come to attack, they will be shot very quickly by the crystal spire, and you'll see that it does get stunned from time to time, but it's not a huge deal. So let's go ahead and let it run. Okay, there goes the front line. We have 2 bombs that hit Lesher. We could probably just ditch those 2 bombs that were going after Lesher and put in some more ranged units, to maybe another crystal spire and another set of archers, something like that. Even some hammer throwers. The hammer throwers will be a lot closer, but they'll slow them down and allow the archers to do their job. So there you go. Battle 375 down. Thank you for watching. We'll have some more battles for you in the near future. Please do like and subscribe, and check out thecommandtable.com, where we have tutorials, raid strats, and in the near future we'll be adding merchandise and a comic strip. Thank you for watching. We'll have more for you soon.